Hello everyone, I'm Carrie. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Last week, I talked about my overall strategies and tips for TOEFL. A lot of people asked me about listening. So, I'm going to finish the homework that you guys assigned to me. Today, I will talk about how I improved my listening score from 8 to 25. And what are the tips and strategies to predict listening questions. Let's get started. When I first practiced listening, it was a disaster. I totally got lost. I didn't understand the passages and what they were talking about. I hesitated to choose answers since I wasn't allowed to go back, so I ran out of time. However, I ended up getting a 25 at my first time taking the official test. That was similar to my practice scores within 1 month. This means you can improve your listening scores step by step. So what are my secrets? There are two types of listening materials, conversation and lecture. Usually, conversation is easier than lecture. So my first strategy was to try getting full points in conversation. In a conversation, one person always asks questions and the other person answers questions. Here's the key. The questions in the test are probably the questions asked by the person in the conversation. And the answers to the test are exactly the answers from the other person in the conversation. Let's see some examples and you will understand this. Question 1 in the TOEFL Bank's listening test. Why does the student go to see the dormitory management employee? The answer is in the conversation. The employee asks a question at the beginning. How can I help you? The student answers, I want to know if I can change the door room. See, this is answer A. Let's see another question. Question 2 is, why does the man mention the university website? In the conversation, the student asks a question. How will I find someone like that? The employee answers, you could use the university's online website. Then he keeps explaining. There's a board where students can freely post about their problematic situations and seek people that can offer help. This is answer C. Conversation questions are more straightforward. Here are the tips for listening to conversations. Once the listening starts, pay full attention. The first 2 sentences may be answer to question 1, and take notes on keywords about the questions and answers. Use your own language or familiar symbols to take notes. Spending much time learning abbreviations is one of the mistakes people often make for TOEFL. Don't do it. Check out my previous video later to see what these 5 mistakes are. How to predict questions for the listening on lectures. Before we move on, please take a second to subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to hit the bell button. Thank you. It's difficult to predict questions and answers when listening to lectures. Lectures are long and complicated to understand. However, I still find out some hints to predict questions and answers. In a lecture, a professor often summarizes the main idea in the beginning. This will be the answer to the main idea question. Then the professor explains the concepts after the main idea. These concepts and questions students ask during the lecture are probably the questions and answers in the test. Let's look at some examples. TOEFL Bank's listening test, question 12 of the lecture. What is the lecture mainly about? At the beginning of the lecture, the professor says, begin our analysis on Edgar Allan Poe's The Masque of the Red Death. Then she asks the students what this story is all about. Grab the keywords like analysis, story to choose answer B. For question 14, what's the moral of the story? The professor asks the same question to her students in the lecture. Since the students are not able to answer the question, the professor tells the answer directly. The theme is that death is inescapable regardless of who you are. So the answer is C. From these examples, you can see the questions and answers are directly from the lectures. Imagine that you were one of the students in the lectures. Take notes and grab some keywords when you hear questions, answers, and explanations. If you miss some information, don't worry, you can get them from context. Remember to put your notes in order. Like reading, TOEFL also arranges the questions in the same order as the information shown in the listening. Sometimes information from earlier questions can be useful for questions that come later. Remember to be familiar with each listening question type. The more familiar you are, the better you can predict the questions. Your brain may automatically interpret if they are related to the questions, and find out the patterns and summarize the strategies for each question type. I will make videos of them later. The next step is to predict the whole section. If you don't understand the listening, listen and answer the questions again. You can also check the transcripts to figure out which parts you missed. If you keep listening to the passage at a faster pace, you will end up finding the pace of the normal test slower. Listen as much as you can and get your ears used to English. If you want to listen to other materials that are similar to the test, I would recommend National Geographic and 60-Second Podcast. National Geographic has many scientific topics that TOEFL questions are similar to. Watch it on YouTube or read its magazines. There are several topics called 60-Second Science, 60-Second Earth, or 60-Second Health. They explain ideas in the specific fields in 60 seconds. You can choose the topics that you are interested in. I highly recommend you to practice listening more if you study or live in foreign countries. In real life, people have different accents, speak faster, and use many idioms and slang. I will share other listening materials later. Please share my videos and subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to hit the bell button. Thank you for watching. See ya!